There.
Peace, family. Peace. We are now live. We are now live. Thank you for your patience. As always, we're getting ready to have a magnificent show tonight. Magnificent show tonight. I have somebody I haven't had on in a while. Last interview I did with the brother, I did at his spot, Studio Patar. So I'm about to get it in with the brother. We're about to have a magnificent interview. Before we do, and even before I introduce the brother, I want y'all to get comfortable. Make sure you hit the like button. Tell your friends and family. Brother Rich is live, and he's getting ready to have a great interview. And I'm gonna get to a few commercials, and then I'm gonna bring this brother on. And woo, we're gonna have a great discussion tonight. All right, family. So we'll be right back. Get comfortable.
Welcome to the Sacred Tree. This is Stardust Jewelry for the Collective. All of our pieces are spiritually downloaded, handcrafted, and created with the love and healing powers of our set. We pride ourselves on using nothing but the best crystals, 14-karat gold, and sterling silver to highlight the conductivity of this alchemical process. So many superpowers for us to tap into, and the crystals are here to help you. I always say whatever crystal you choose, it chooses you at the same time. It's a symbiotic relationship. So feel free to tap into the sacredtree.life, see what we have to offer. Rock.
It's the numerational session with King Simon. Text your full name and date of birth to 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. And get my books on Amazon now. December 4th in Florida, Cosmic Alignment with Billy Carson alongside Ellison Nebra. And don't forget, King Simon with Dina Divine. And don't forget the one and only Joshua Sarah, all happening in Florida. Linktree/King Simon, the numero Veda for tickets.
Had a bad dream? I have dreams too. Some parts are scary and some parts are fun. Always remind yourself, it's only a dream and everything will be okay. I had a dream about being in a forest too. Check it out, my pet Petey was with me. Order your copy of Kayla Petey and the Forest on Amazon today.
All right. We are now back. And I would like to take this time to bring this brother on. This is an amazing brother that's in our community who has done an amazing job of teaching and elevating the consciousness of the conscious community for many, many decades. Brother Baaba Heru, Elder Baaba Heru, I want you to introduce yourself to my family, to the people, to the people out there, and let them know exactly who you are for those who may not know, my brother.
Oh, give thanks and praise. You see this?
Yes, sir.
They call me the Ankh Man because my work has been to carry this and to encourage others to do the same the way we used to in the ancient days. You would see us carved in stone carrying this Ankh of life eternal. It has been, of course, updated because many people are sometimes intimidated by this 2.5-pound Ankh.
Yes, sir.
So I decided to go a little softer for them by bringing the heart of life Ankh that you see me carrying, made of natural wood. Okay. And by the way, I make these also as pendants and rings and so on, the heart of life Ankh. So I encourage our brothers and sisters to get with this. So as you know, I'm a craftsman. I create the sacred joy Ari. They call it jewelry, but I call it joy Ari because Ari means to do, to make, or to create joy. The word that I coined is what I call a Smaitawi word, where I use the Neteru term Ari and marry it to the English term joy. So joy Ari means to create joy. Because when people come and they discover the studio of Ptah and what we do here, they get very joyful. One sister went out here praising the Lord when she got her Ankh, you know. So that's the kind of energy that is encouraged by those who discover the studio of Ptah. But prior to that, I also established the first shrine here in North America, livicated, as the Rastaman would say, not dedicated, to the uplift of Kamitic consciousness, I would say Ma'atian Smaitawi consciousness. Because the thing has been that we've had many of our elders who have been teaching about the Nile Valley culture. One notable one, as you know, is Dr. Ben, and then Dr. Clark and so many others. And you may know, if you look at some of the YouTubes that I've done, that I gave Dr. Ben his carrying ankh in 1980 at Church of the Master in Harlem. Dr. John Hendrik Clark got his in 1982. Since then, Maulana Karanga and so many others, even Judge Cut 'em Loose Bruce Wright got an ankh. I had to go to his home to deliver him his ankh. Gary Bird, who used to be with LIB, and so many others have received this ankh. Adelaide Sanford, who was one of the first regents up in Albany, New York, got her ankh from me. Susan Taylor, who wrote Feeling the Spirit in Essence magazine, where we appeared in 1987. The whole page was dedicated to the work that we do at the studio of Ptah. So the Shrine of Ptah came into existence, and there I was teaching Chemitics 101, which was a basic entry-level introduction to the culture of the Nile Valley Africans, now miscalled Egyptian. Later, of course, we found out that these were the Kemetic people, and they created a united double queen kingdom of Nubia, Kush, and Kemet, of, I would say, Kush, Kenset, and Kemet, the 3 Ks, before, of course, that was taken to another zone. So, yes, that's about it as far as my work in the legacy is concerned. As you perhaps know, many of you knew that I pounded the beat in New York City, in some of the toughest neighborhoods as a police officer. I would say not a police officer, as a peace officer, because I brought the peace. And of course, many of my superiors had a problem with that because I spent a lot of time talking to people. And one of the ways I used to clear the corner, the brothers shooting dice, and I would come and I would start talking about African history. Oh, we don't want to hear that. I said, well, then the beat is mine, right? The corner is mine. If you don't want to hear what I have to say, you will have to move. Otherwise, we'll call the wagon. And of course, they cooperated, and I love my people. They loved me back. When superiors tried to move me off post, the people got a petition to bring me back. And in the 20 years, I carried the key of life and never had to use my gun on or off duty. Matter of fact, the last time I went to the firing range, when I pull out the weapon, a big piece of lint came out of the barrel. The guy said, he looked at me as if I was, he said, "You don't clean this thing?" I said, "I never touch it." But I became an expert marksman with the .38 revolver, the on-duty one and off-duty one. But I don't like guns. I never did. I carried it because it came with the Job, and but it stayed in my holster. The only time I was struck twice by 2 men who struck me, and of course, when I struck back, I laid them both out because I used to do boxing when I was young, and I remember when I visited Muhammad Ali up at his camp in Pennsylvania. He said, "You want to spar with me? You're a big guy." I said, "I don't want to hurt you, Muhammad." And he laughed, of course. Yes, sir. So that's a little bit about what I do. And today I continue to work in the studio, creating these fantastic emblems of our culture. These are emblems of meditation that can take you into the fields of discovery of our ancient culture, the fields of the Neteru. Like, for instance, right now I'm wearing Heru, but I got Set. Because you see, Heru and Set are 2 parts of who we are. We have levity and we have gravity. We trace our culture back to the stars. As a matter of fact, Rich One, I call this brother Rich, I call him Rich One. Rich One came to my studio once to do a tape with me and the pills, red and blue pill. And he was looking around, looking at the pyramids and saw the beautiful stuff I did, but he saw a picture on the wall of a sun with the rays descending from it, almost similar to the one right behind his, and he said, yeah, right behind his, he said, "I want one like that." And I see, Brother Rich, you got it. And it's really big, man. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's a good background for you, my brother. And hey, have you noticed how young Brother Rich is getting? I think he's been eating Tassili's punani sandwiches.
The punani wrap. The punani wrap.
Punani, right?
Oh man.
Maybe say Tassili, she's got some great stuff, man. I remember going down there to do a talk at her yearly gathering that she has. And boy, that kale salad will make you sit down. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're looking great, Brother Rich. You get younger and younger every time I see you.
Hey, thank you, my brother. You looking great as well, my elder. To start out with, you know, I know you got a lot to say about accessing this divine realm of the Neteru, and there's so much talk about meditation and accessing this, what we call the quantum field. There's so many different names for it, depending on whether you're in science or spirituality. But before we get started, I want to ask you, so many years of experience in this spiritual community and just in developing your divine spirit and your divine self, I want to ask you, my brother, my elder, what word would you use to best describe accessing spirituality, your spiritual journey? I mean, is it the intellect? Like, what do you use? Do you use intellect? Do you use your spirituality? Do you use intuition? Do you use your gut feeling? Do you like what word in the English language would you use to describe how you access this? Because I think that's very important.
Well, I would call it a sacred science, simply a sacred science. And I tell you, I stumbled upon it because of the fact that I'm into creativity, because my home Neteru is Ptah. My street Neteru is Heru, especially Heru Kahuti, and which means, of course, the warrior spirit of Heru. And when I taught Comedics 101, I taught the students, I said, I gave them the legend of Aston Asar, who they call Isis and Osiris. And I would ask them, who is your mother? Everyone in the class would say, Oset or Ast. Someone would say Isis. I said, well, who is your father? Asar, who they call Osiris. I said, well, who are you? Everybody in the class say Heru. I say, okay, so if you're Heru, what is your first mission in this resurrection? What is and the answer would be to serush ma'at, to restore ma'at. Because you see, ma'at, people say, are you a Kemite? I claim the spirituality of the Kemetic ancestors of the Nile, but I claim ma'at. That is, Kemet gives me the template that leads me to the discovery of this ancient spiritual high culture known as Ma'at. According to our ancestors, Ma'at is the order of the universe. Ma'at keeps the planets in their orbit. Ma'at keeps the sun in its orbit. He keeps the stars in their orbits. And that same order is replicated on the earth plane. So it's a marriage of heaven and earth, if you want to put it that way, of Pet, the heaven, and Ta, earth, Ptah, you see. So I spend a lot of time in what I call the Seket Ptah, the field of Ptah, talking about quantum fields. I remind people that modern science is using terms that are drawn from the template of the Greek and Latin sources, but they don't seem to respect the older source, which gave Greece and Rome its elementary science. Because don't forget, in 332 BC, the Greeks came into Kemet. And when they built the city of Alexandria, they raided all of the temples and brought the books back to Alexandria. And this is where they got their earliest elementary education. You see, so Plato and Socrates and all of them studied in Alexandria, which is in Kemet, now called Egypt, all right? And the northeastern section of Smai Kawi. And that's one of the things that in Smai Tawi, we're speaking about unity, the unity of the two regions, okay, the north and the south. But not only unity of the north and the south geographically, but unity of the heaven and earth, unity of the right and left brain hemispheres. You see, unity of masculine and feminine. This is and especially your internal masculine and feminine, because we are now in the age of Hapi, which if you see in the temple walls, and I always go to the temple walls as my original template because that's primary evidence of a way of thinking and being that many of us have lost. It's still in our subconscious, but you got to put on your diving suit and go very deep to root it out and bring it to the surface. And guess what? When you bring it to the surface, it frightens a lot of people. And people become very intimidated because they want to know, what are you talking about? I never heard of that before. You see, in Chemetics 101, I taught people with all kind of degrees going up and down their backs, but they never touched this knowledge. And many of them became angry that they went to the height of Western education and knew nothing about the true story of the Nile Valley culture, because it had been encased in a gyp known as Egyptology. You see, instead of its true name of Smaitawiology or even chematology. That would be the true name, because the word Egypt is foreign. It comes from the Greek word Aiguputus, which was a mispronunciation of a town that the Greeks came into known as Het Pataka, or House of the Soul of Ptah, the place now called Memphis, which we called Mennefer, which means established in beauty. You see, so these are some of the things that I speak about. And to speak about the Seket Neteru, the field of the Neteru, how do you access these fields?
Yes.
Well, guess what? To access these fields, you've got to study and know that such things exist. You know about the archangels, you know about the seraphims and the cherubims and all of that, but you know nothing about the template from which that was taken. And we're speaking of forces that are indwelling as well as outdwelling, that everything that is on Earth is replicated in the cosmos. The Earth is a microcosmic manifestation of the larger cosmos, you see, and all that is out there is in here. And when I say in here, I mean in here. The Neteru, the field of the Neteru are there waiting for us to call them forth. And that's the reason why I would suggest that you make the effort to know their names in the original language of the Metunerer, or some say Metunetcher. I don't argue about the different dialects that we have. I just like to play with sound. You know, as you know, I'm a musician. I had a band in the 80s, and I sang a lot of the legacy songs. And of course, people just wanted music to shake their butts to, and I was to teach them through music. And I played the guitar, and I wrote my own songs, and we had the Kemet Rising Ensemble. If you go on YouTube, you will see some of our presentations. We were up at Sutton's Bar and Grill in Harlem on 145th Street. The woman brought us in there for a month, and we stayed about 3 months, and she chased us out because nobody was buying drinks. Everybody was drinking John Harris's green juice and his pea soup, you know, and stuff like that, his lentil soup. So yeah, I've been about this work for a very long time. But let's get back to the Neteru. How do you access the Neteru? Well, look, I am wearing a meditation on Heru on my finger right now. Why this falcon? Well, all spiritual paths, all cultures have their bird. Here in America, you've got the eagle, right? The Native Americans called it the thunderbird, right? In Kemet, it was the falcon. Why? Because it flies higher than any other bird. It can be 2 miles up in the air. It can spot a mouse on the ground or a flock of pigeons, and whatever it decides to have for dinner, it never misses what it aims for. Its sight is so keen, it can look in the sun without blinking. And that is the kind of insight that we must have about ourselves, because there's so much going on that we are blinking a lot we can hardly see anymore. Okay? So we must begin to look within, because the answers are right inside of us. You have been told when you go to Sunday school that the God is within you. Well, how do you access this God? How do you access this energy? Well, you cannot just go directly to the chairman of the board. You got to go pass through his vice presidents of this or that before you can get into the high seat. You see, so now if you want to access your Heruship, then make up your mind to live a life based upon Ma'at. Truth, righteousness, balance, order. You've heard this before. I know you know what Ma'at is, but the fact is, we have not collectively made that word impossible to lose because we do not use it enough. Those of you who are into graffiti, I want you to put that feather up on the walls of this city, because righteousness is the symbol of Ma'at, is that feather. It's an ostrich feather that's very light. My brother Pata, my brother Paur, Teuti Paur Sepata, he's my brother from my mother's womb. He wrote a song called Keep Your Heart as Light as a Feather, which means keep your heart in Ma'at. Go within. Contact the intelligence of your heart. Because you see, you are thinking with this up here. You don't think with this, you see. And but of course, in your brain, the heart of your brain is your pineal gland, as you well know, that pine-shaped object in the center of your brain. And that's the reason why when I speak and I try to speak the Neteru, I say why? Because right on the other side of the ceiling of my mouth is where the pineal rests. You see, so that energy will activate energy within the pineal process, you see, and keep me more alive. Since I am into creativity, I can't wait to get up in the morning, because at night I'm thinking what I'm going to do next for these people who are coming into wakefulness. What beauty can I bring to my people? Okay, that's why, as you can see, I love color. I wear color. Right now I'm wearing this crown that has a lotus. Why a lotus? Because a lotus, though it grows in filth, it brings forth such beauty. Okay, because we are surrounded by so much negativity, especially these days, compliments of you know whom. We need to emphasize Ma'at. We need to emphasize truth. That's the reason why I wear emblems of Ma'at. Okay, and as I said before, that feather, I have very many emblems with the symbol of Ma'at. I wish I had one day. Rich one, I have to come on and really show the people the extent of the work I've done. Over 50 years of designing emblems of our culture, not just Nile Valley culture, but culture of all ancient cultures. I especially love to put the Adinkra symbols with Nile Valley symbols, rocking east and west. I have no favorites when it comes to my mother. I love all of her. You know, some people was upset because I said I would not set foot in the West, only be West Africa, because I was at that time I was angry at what was going on, at how folks who were educated here in the West have become so corrupt, robbing the people of that land, robbing them of their knowledge of self. Okay, so much so that it takes the Metropolitan Museum of Art to remember our people. That, hey, this place you call Egypt was the ground from which you got Ghana, the culture of Ghana, the culture of Nigeria. When you speak of the Orisha, you can see how it came from the Neteru. So yes, you can also access the Orisha. You see, that's the fields of the Orisha. I call it the fields of the Neteru, or the Obosum, you see, in the Ghanaian system. So to access these, now you're going to discover the methodology that you may apply. I never like to talk about the methods that I use, only because I want you to discover your own wings. I was born in the tropical sign of Leo, but I was also in the sidereal sign of Kepara, which they call Cancer. And I tend to focus on both aspects of my being. And I invite you to do the same thing. So what I do, I was afraid to share because people would think, oh, he's gone off his rocker, he's woo-woo. But I do star meditations. That's the reason why you see this star here that I wear on my pinky. Okay. When I used to go, I went to the islands where I grew up, the island of Tortola, and a very small island called Virgin Gorda, or Virgen Gorda, what Columbus called it, the Fat Virgin, a little 8 square mile island. And I spent time with a family group up in the hills of Virgin Gorda. And there's a long rock on that, of granite rock on that soil. And that rock gathers the sun all day long. And at midnight, I would go out and I look up and I could see the stars, because it's not like New York City where they block out the stars. You can't even see, you can't do any star traveling because the city lights block everything out. And that's in all the major cities. You don't have contact with the cosmos because of the fact that, well, you do have contact. You have to know it's there. You have to imagine it's there because you can hardly see it because these lights are blocking out everything. But I do star travel, brothers and sisters. I visit, especially around in the winter season, I like to go and visit Sa, the one they called Orion. I like to visit Ast Sepedet, the one they now call Sirius. And I like to ride on both of those constellations, you see. And trust me, I get dreams that I could not even tell you the beauty of things that are revealed in terms of the creative field by star traveling. You can star travel daily because the sun is a star. So I would invite you in the early morning hours and before it sets to just go and open your eyes and look at it and then close them. Don't stare too long because you don't want to burn the retina. But you must use your star visuals to awaken your inner being, because that's where the heaven resides. There's a field known as the Seket Hetep or the Seket Hetepu, the fields of offerings. So you must approach this journey of meditation with offerings. You have to offer your being to the attention of that which you want to attract. So say you want to attract, if you are a writer and you're experiencing writer's block, you've been reading that same paragraph over and over, you can't seem to unlock your imagination to access it. Well, if you get a little image of Tehuti, that may help you. You're not going to worship the image the way they have accused us of worshiping images and idols. That's nonsense. That's an excuse that foreigners use to turn us away from a way of thinking and being and accessing spirit that our ancestors were famous for. That's why the works that they have created are the wonders of the world, not only in Africa, but all across the plane of this earth. You will find the tracks of the same people who thought in the same way with symbols. Because when you look at a symbol, it immediately goes to the cortex. It goes to the brain, just like that. And if you stay long enough, it resides in the heart. So now, let's say you're a boxer or you're a wrestler, and you want to be victorious. Then you get a little image of that falcon, of Heru. But not only the bird itself, not only the image of the bird, but the implements that your ancestors put on these images. What kind of crown is Heru wearing? What does Heru have in his hand? You have to study these things That's why your ancestors left them in stone, because they knew that we were going to lose our way. And they knew that certain people would come into our land and take us away, our attention away from our ancestral ways. That is the reason why so many of our scholars spent so much time trying to get us to pay attention. But you know what has happened? A lot of us paid attention. But the same mess that we used to do in the schoolyard fighting each other, we brought it into the conscious community. And so we went to war with each other on street corners, cursing each other's out. And hey, I have no beef with my Hebrew Israelite brothers and sisters. I wish they would be a little bit more kind in terms of their utterance, especially to the women that walk by. But I understand the anger that many of them feel. You see? But I remind them, if they want to argue with me because I take the Kemetic path, I remind them, hey, your book shows that we were kind to you, Abraham and Sarah. We educated you, Moses, according to your own book. We rescued you from the wrath of Herod, Yeshua, Jesus. So you pray to Jesus, but you don't give any credit to the one who spared his life according to the story in your book. That's the reason why I said to my minister friends, I said, you have got to teach the people about Ma'at. Oh, they don't have a file for that. I said, well, give them a file. It's your business to teach all of the truth. It's your business to acquaint your flock. Yeah, flock, because you have turned them into sheep when they're supposed to be really falcons. They're supposed to be lions. They're supposed to be cobras. They're supposed to be scarabs. Huh. Why did you say that? Well, guess what? That Catholic bishop, St. Andrews of Milan, he referred to Yeshua, Jesus, as the good scarab. Why? Because the scarab beetle is a symbol of resurrection, of transformation, and of coming into being. Why? The scarab lays its egg in a ball of dung. That's the reason why we should respect dung. We use dung as a curse word. We say that's BS. Well, guess what? BS is very clean. It's only water and grass. It's the HS you've got to worry about. That funky stuff that we flush away in the bathroom. That's the HS. That is blanketing this world. That is seeming to blanket our nation. When I say our nation, this beautiful land you call America, you must know that you have paid for your presence here. This land is imbrued with the blood of your ancestors. Yes, you can go back to the continent and pay your respects and even build a home there and be bi-coastal. But don't you ever think of leaving this to strangers who have come after you. You belong here because you were here before anybody else. And don't you ever forget it. When people try, go back where you came from. Well, you want to come with me? Bill Clinton told you that all of humanity was spawned on the African continent. So let's all go home. But if you want to go home, you cannot go home to rape the place. Tell beloved, the Queen of England to return the diamonds from where she took it, that one that's on her crown. I hope that I'm not canceled for saying such terrible things. But look, I can go, hey, Brother Rich, as you know, I have a motor mouth, and once I start going, I don't stop. So you have to pause me if you need to ask another question.
Well, you know what definitely stood out to me, that I think a lot of people stood out to a lot of people as well, is when you were talking about star traveling, and I've been, talking about that behind the scenes with a brother named Dr. B. Serious. So I'm very curious to know, I know some of the things you said you can't even describe about the beauty of what you've seen, but what can you tell us about what it was like star traveling to Orion or to Sirius What was that experience like for you? Or is there anything you can tell us about that particular star experience for you, star traveling experience?
Okay, that was so difficult, but I would give you a hint of how you can access the journey.
Mm.
You see, our ancestors left us primary evidence textbooks. There's a place called Saqqara, the city of Saqqara.
Mhm.
And in there, you would find the oldest corpus of spiritual writing in the world. Known today, we call it the Reyu Merkut, or the chapters of the pyramid text. In the pyramid text, I would suggest you get the one by R.O. Faulkner. That's a good one. By the way, I don't discriminate against any of these writers because I study all of them. I have no favorites. My favorites are my ancestors. But I give thanks to these Northerners who have done some work because they have a very inquisitive nature. And they have been able to gather some information that can get us on our way. So I would tell you, do your work. Don't try to I think the Rolling Stones used to say, hey, you get over my cloud, find your own cloud. And I will tell you how you can access it. Get a copy of the pyramid text, and you can follow up by the coffin texts, which are both preceded the Pertam Ru, the book of the coming forth today from night. The Reyu Pert Ru Ger, the chapters of coming forth today from night, which is the latest one. As you all know, I share this one with a lot of brothers and sisters. Why? Because it is one of the easiest ones to access. If you want to actually access it in its actual, in the actual glyphs of the Metu Neter, I would suggest you take a course of the Metu Neter at the Shrine of Ma'at by our beloved Queen Anika and Jabari Osaze, or you can get Brother Mfundishi. He's a great resource if you really want to get into the language, because you see, to awaken these energies, you want to pronounce the sounds as best as you can, all right? And you have to trust your intuition because your mother is there waiting to feed you, to awaken you. And so if you want to access the method of star traveling, please, you can read the Conversations with Ogo Tomeli by Griol and Ditelaine, which is about the Dogon journey, their star journeys. You can read also the Sirius Mystery by Robert K.G. Temple. And if you really want to go deeper, I would suggest you get that book by Kaba Kameni, Shabaka's Stone. If you want to learn how to access those zones of consciousness, that would be a great book. And also Spirituality Before Religion, all right? Or you can get a book that I wrote the introduction to, Ma'at Kemetic Soulism, by my beloved student and brother, Heru, and also his Smai Tawi. I wrote the introduction to that too. And if you want to go into the electromagnetic concept of these things, you can get the book called The Ankh, The African Origins of Electromagnetism, written by my beloved friend who's now deceased, Nur Ankh Amen. Nur Ankh came to me and asked me, can you do the introduction for the second edition? I said, brother, I love your introduction. He said, but you don't understand. I want to get your name on the cover because wherever I go, people ask if I'm the Ankh man. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll write an afterword. So to this day, many people are able to contact me by going to the back of the book and reading the afterword that I wrote about the Ankh from its cultural and spiritual application.
Oh, okay.
Now to get back to what you are talking about, you asked me how to access these states of consciousness. As I said before, get into the pyramid texts. And I can assure you, if you spend enough time, and don't give me that crap, well, a white man wrote it, so, well, didn't he write the Bible that you're always into, huh? How come you don't want to throw that away? And I wouldn't suggest that you do because it's chock full of African wisdom. Where do you think the book of Proverbs was copied from? The Proverbs of Ptahhotep, the oldest book in the world, huh? Okay. So don't come to me telling me that, hey, that stuff is too old. Just today, somebody would say, well, that's old stuff. I said, well, the New Testament goes back over 2,000 years. The Old Testament goes back about 3 or 3,500 years. So you don't have no problem dealing with old book. The Quran goes back how many years? About 1,300 years, or a little bit more, 1,800 years. So you're dealing in the past all the time, and you make it your future. You make it your present. You pray to the divine presently from those books, from what you've learned in those books. So don't give me that crap about how it's too old and whatnot. What many of us have done is taken this Kemetic culture and made of it a trend. So many of you have taken off your ankhs because a couple of brothers have shown themselves to be unma'atical. One is accused of molesting a underage person. The other was accused of shooting at his wife, and some of them are wearing the eyes of Heru, and of course getting their asses whipped by Ma'at. You cannot mess with this legacy and play games with it, because you will be brought before the Amimit, the one who consumes the heart of the unjustified. Okay, so to get into the pyramid text, and I can assure you, there you will imitate the methods of the king Unas, who goes to his star. In that book is one of the ways I learned how to access these states of consciousness. Okay, you got to find your own way. Don't comment, because if I teach you my way, that's not meant for you. It can be a guide to encourage you, but you've got to do the work. One of the things I found about some of us as a people, we're very lazy.
Yes.
We want it all handed to us. You got to work for your salvation. I'm sorry. You've got to put the time in. And that's why a lot of people have turned away from the Kemetic culture, because they realize how deep it is and how high it is. And they are too damn lazy to take the time to turn off the TV, to get off the media or whatever the crap is out there, and take some time to contemplate, which will lead you into meditation. If you contemplate an image long enough, it will lead you into the spirit that it represents. Oh, you can follow, even the Bible tells you, go to the ant, thou sluggard. So go to Central Park, look for an ant nest. Go to Prospect Park, look for an ant nest and study the ants and see if they can teach you some stuff. Your ancestors went to the scarab to learn about transformation and resurrection. They went to the cobra, which is on the brow of the kings, the Cushites, from the place now miscalled Ethiopia in Greek. The kings there were double cobra. In other words, they were amping what you call the Kundalini energy, okay? And that zone of intuition, which is the zone of the divine feminine within you on the right side of your brain, which functions on the left side of your body. That's the reason why Western man refers to the left hand as the sinister side, because Western man seems to have a problem with women. You see, and brothers, as you know, they're putting all kind of stuff in the foods now in order to derail you from being your true self, okay? You have a right to be androgynous, but you were born in a male body. So please honor this divine temple. And please avoid those things which are not hygienic. I'm not going to sit here and beat up on anyone's on their lifestyle. You know why? Because you can curse people for their lifestyle, but you never know what has caused it. They're putting it in the foods. They're taking the seeds out of the fruit. You are eating neutered foods. So if you're not getting the nourishment you need to nourish both sides and both hemispheres of who you are, they're making you into a neuter. You're being neutralized. So you're confused. And then, of course, some of you go to church and you get molested as children. And before you are 13 years old, you have molested other children. And then you are wondering why this confusion is proliferating. You send your child to Sunday school and he gets raped in the pews. Now, I know not all churches do this, but enough to cause confusion throughout this world. I never thought I would cry. I would shed tears for certain people. But when I saw the movie Spotlight, I was all boo-hoo, okay? When I saw some of the documentaries on what has been going on in these churches that are closing all over Europe now, what happened to these children whose mothers and fathers trusted their pastors and their priests and bring these children into confusion. And now you've got the nerve to curse these confused brothers and sisters who are sexually confused. You call them all kind of wicked names, not knowing what their experience has been. You better shut up, and you better show some kindness and some understanding as to what's going on and what has caused many of them to be derailed in their upbringing. And it don't happen in the churches alone. It happened in the homes because we've learned some filthy things from the plantations of this country. Don't forget, even some of our speech patterns were taught to us by the dregs that came out of the jails of England. They sent them over here to be overseers on the plantation. They who taught you their broken English, you call it Ebonics. Okay, the same thing happened to the Aborigines in Australia, where the dregs of the jails of England were sent down there. And now you're wondering why we are so messed up. When we were in our primordial states, when we were the Aborigines, when we were the original people, we seem to have had respect. Oh, we quarreled because there's something in human nature that some of us like to fight. You know, we like to war with each other. You know, and but we began to learn the methods by which Africans used to fight each other. They used to wear masks to scare each other off the field. You saw Shaka Zulu. You saw when he started to kill his brothers and sisters who were the opposition, because tribalism is something that we've always been into. So when you call me black and you say, well, who are you? Or I'm a black person. Well, but that doesn't say what tribe I belong to. I belong to the tribe of those who are coming into wakefulness, who are coming into Ma'at. That's my tribe. That's the reason why some brother can walk in here, a sister can walk in here, and they may not have enough of the coins for the things that they want to have around their necks or on their fingers. And I would ask them one question. I say, are you into Ma'at? Yes, brother. I said, well, okay, you're going to pay me, aren't you? And they give me a deposit. I said, okay, walk. And I've always been paid back. You know why? And that's what's missing. That's why we are so distrustful in business. Because we do not have a standard. The standard left to us by our ancestors, the standard of Ma'at, which says, you can trust me, that truly word is bond. But today we have made the word into a death. And Dodge City has returned to New York City. I remember when they sent me from the East Village as a peace officer to East New York. It was like Dodge City there. When I was in the East Village, after I got off duty, I used to go to the coffee houses and read poetry because I love poems. You know, I did not only read the poems of Langston Hughes and Claude McKay and others. I read some of the poetry of people like Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas is a Welshman who was born in the same place of that movie star Richard Burton, the one who was married to Elizabeth Taylor. He said this, and death shall have no dominion. Dead men naked, they shall be one with the man in the wind and the west moon. When their bones are picked clean and their clean bones gone, they shall have stars at elbow and foot. Though they go mad, they shall be sane, and though they sink through the sea, they shall rise again. Though lovers be lost, love shall not, and death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion. Under the windings of the sea, they lying long shall not die windily, twisting on racks when their sinews give way, strapped to a wheel, yet they shall not break. Fate in their hands shall snap in two, and the iron unicorn runs them through. Split all ends up, yet they shan't crack, and death shall have no dominion. And death shall have no dominion, no more may gulls cry at their ears, or waves break loud on the seashore. Where blooms a flower, may a flower no more lift its head to the blows of the rain. Though they be mad and dead as nails, heads of their character hammer through the daisies, breaking in the sun till the sun breaks down. And death shall have no dominion. Thomas. My father used to pay me a line for every line of poetry I could memorize. I know most of the soliloquies in Shakespeare's Hamlet, of Macbeth, and so on. I was schooled in classical English and all of that. I used to speak with an English accent when I first came to America. And they say, "Oh, you're talking white." And when I spoke in the island accent, because I know how to talk that talk too, They say, "Oh, you're a coconut." Between talking white and being a coconut, I had a hard time getting in. And but when I started to practice this legacy, even the scholars did not like it. And I would ask them, why do you not want us to apply the things that you have inspired us to know of our history? And you know what somebody said to me, Baaba Heru? He said it was a case of old bull, young bull. You were the young bull coming into the pasture, and the women were after you.
Wow.
Because you see, our women, many of them are sapiosexuals. They are attracted to men with knowledge. Why? Because it's in the nature of a woman to look for a man from whom she can learn something. Because why? Not just for herself. She wants to educate her egg so that she can bring forth the geniuses, the deliverers of our people. That's what she's looking for. So brothers, please, get with the books. Get with the meditation. Call forth the indwelling Neteru. They're all there waiting for you to access these forces and these powers. That's what I use for my creative work. I access the Neter Pata. I access as a healer. Don't forget, I was an apprentice to a healer for 20 years, and I married her. You know her as Queen Afua. As a matter of fact, her book, Sacred Woman, she will tell you, could not be written without my assistance, because I initiated her into the legacy of Kemet. Supernova Slum, another one of my sons, through her, likewise, was initiated into the Ankh. He has one of these, okay? And of course, he's been trying to get into the hip hop world, and they keep him out because they know that he ain't street. He was a brownstone prince, to tell you the truth. He did some things that I did not know about, as most young people do, and don't tell their parents and until they confess much later. But yet that book, Sacred Woman, I would tell men, get that book and give it as a gift to your queen, because you need to read that book. I wrote a chapter in the book of telling men how to access a sacred woman. You have got to follow her in her footsteps, because once she cleanses her body, so many women came to Queen who could not get pregnant. And when Queen was finished inspiring them, because she's as much an inspirer as she is a healer, she would, they would unclog their wounds, and she'd be walking and, "Oh, you see, this is a heal thyself baby." "Oh, yeah. Well, did you write Queen a letter thanking her for helping you to be inspired to change your habits, to change your ways, so that you can now unclog your tubes, get rid of your fibroids. Okay. This is what that book teaches. And brothers, we have, and I say this over and over again, we have a responsibility to our women. You say that we are killing our babies with abortion, but the woman carries the weight. Brothers, you cannot keep using your sperm like it's a water pistol. You've got to have some discipline. You've got to learn how to study to hold your seed. You call it the hold back. It's more than hold back, because what you're holding back may poison you, because if your sperm is acidic, you are going to kill yourself. Okay? Because acid is what turns into tumors. That's what gets into your prostate gland, and it erodes the floor of your prostate. The acid eats through the tissue of your prostate. Okay? So therefore, you too have got to get on the program with your woman. If you truly love her, you want to bring her something clean. And I know her twerking is causing your attention to fall on her behind, but that's for her to sit on and for her to go to the bathroom with. Stay out of it, because you cannot be taking feces into her womb. I'm being straight up with you, brothers. That's what elders are supposed to do in the village. We
Being
can't-
raw. You should stay about that ass. Talk to him, elder. Okay.
You can't be carrying particles of doo-doo into the womb of heaven.
You caught me by surprise. I didn't think you would talk like this. Yo, okay.
Hey. I warned you, Rich One, my tongue is loose.
Woo! I'm ready.
Warned you, my tongue is loose.
Hey, I'm ready for
Get
it.
out of the
Yeah.
back door. I'm sorry. No.
Man.
You see, because I know a lot of us have been switched around because of what has happened to us. We've had a lot of trauma in our upbringing. And once you have been turned around, it's difficult. I was approached once by a northerner when I was working in the hotels of the island.
Mhm.
I said to that gentleman, I said, "Sir, I will tell my father what you've just told me." He said, "Oh, no, don't tell." So I went and I told my boss. Next thing, I saw this man walking down the hill with his suitcase, because my boss protected me from his crap. Okay. He wasn't going to get anywhere with me. I was 13 years old. I was, like many island youth, we work in the hotels down there. I worked in the Harbor View Hotel. I worked at the Trade Winds Hotel with the Mighty Sparrow, who was a Calypsonian in residence, where he wrote that song, "Since I married Dorothy, she got me going crazy." So I'm saying that we have a responsibility to uplift our women and to come to her with an organ that's clean. Brothers, there's a thing called smegma. You call it cheese. If you pull your foreskin back and you see that white substance, you're not going to put that into your queen, because you're poisoning her with acid. Her secretions are acidic. You come to her with acid, you're going to push her acid level over the top. She's going to get tumors, and it's going to metastasize as cancer. You're killing your woman with your dick. You've got to clean up that, my brothers. Okay? And so, you talk about aborting babies. Well, what about aborting your sperm? Do you realize the millions of cells of living energy that you are throwing away in napkins and in rubbers? Do you know? I know when you were young, you got that, like I did too. I was still a virgin at 18 because my father was a preacher man, so I had to set an example, But when I got loose, because I always loved women, I think I used to go to church just to see them get the spirit so I could see what I could see, I got to tell you the truth. My curiosity about the women was always, and still is, as ancient as I am now. It hasn't stopped, but I am more cautious and very respectful. And I do not believe in sperm wars. So I do not believe that brothers should be going into this one this day and into the next one the next day, because you are carrying energies from that one who may not agree with this one over here. And when she starts going crazy, it's because you brought her crazy. Okay? It's in your secretions. That's a quantum level of energy that you are depositing in your queen. Talk about a quantum field. That's a funky field you're dealing with. Okay? So I got to be straight up with you, my brothers, because I mirror you.
Yes, sir.
Mirror is our word for love. Mirror is written with a plow.
Yes, sir.
It's also written with the lips, the words you speak. Because to love, the mer is to cultivate the divine essence of our electromagnetism. That's what it is. Okay? It's a cultivation of a divine energy. So you have got to come to your queen as she is. Okay? She's the queen of heaven. And brother, I also need to tell you, that missionary position that you like so much, you're making some babies with some lazy ass sperm, because the template that your ancestors gave you is Nut is heaven. She's up there. And guess what? Brother, you're on your back looking up at her. That means your sperm has got to climb up a hill. It better be strong to make it to the egg, so you can have a strong prince or princess coming into the world, because your children will be your deliverers from the monsters that are waiting to eat you alive. Trust me, they are now on the loose. And they're not of one race, because we have produced some scoundrels ourselves. Let's take responsibility for some of the scoundrels that are walking among us. And we need a Ma'at militia to deal with them. I'm not suggesting that we go to each other with violence, but if you would begin to bring back the rites of passage, so that your children from very young learn what their responsibility is to the village. Yeah, I know gentrification is scattering us to the four winds. What used to be community is now all over the world, all over the place. But we can still have our rites of passage. And don't expect that folks are going to give you back your throne or your crown. You've got to take it with your consciousness. You've got to enlarge in your consciousness. You've got to read more to access these fields that I'm talking about. You call it quantum fields, but it's a spiritual access through being quiet. You can't be quiet having your radio turned so up, even in the hood, where the cars are blasting this stuff, telling you to go kill your brother, saying that N-word. Hey, how about the N-word Negus, which means king? How about that? How about the N-word Neteru, which means the divine? I don't use the German word to address the divine, because that only posits a masculine principle. As a person of African descent or ascent, because we've descended long enough, I want to address the divine with terms from my culture that recognizes that it's a mother, father of all creation, not just a father, deity, who has a son and who runs the heaven with all male angels. No. We have to get back into what our ancestors left for us in stone. Right now, the Egyptian government is making it mandatory that their children learn the Neteru, the hieroglyphic language. Oh, yeah. And you can be sure that the fundamentalist Muslims don't like the idea, because our language is filled with images and idols. I said to my beloved Muslim brother, I said, Assalamu alaikum. When he saw that I was wearing this emblem of Ptah, I saw a frown on his face. I said, oh, this is an image of a craftsman known as Ptah, thousands of years old. he said, well, it's still an image. I said, oh, so you are telling me that I must turn my back on my ancestral word because it's written with images and symbols? You speak Arabic. I don't tell you not to use those scribbly lines, but I understand your problem because there are no camels on the temple walls, okay? You inherited what is there. And you say you want England to return some of those artifacts that was in the Nile Valley. They're not yours. You came there in 640 AD. They do not belong to you. They belong to the ancestors whose gold you've melted down and sold on the black markets of Europe. It was only because of Mariette, that Frenchman, who told you to build a museum, that the artifacts of my Imperial Majesty, the one we call Amentutonk, he was born with the name Aten Ra Tutonk, okay, which means the sun that lives on earth. And later he changed his name to Amen Tutonk, which gives honor to the hidden sun. The Amen means the hidden one. You said at the end of your prayers, our Muslim brothers say Amin. Our Hebrew brothers say Amen. And it means the hidden one, because the ancestors of the Nile were the first to invoke that sound, Amen. Amen. See? When you have your knowledge, you are free. Then you can instruct your fellow brothers and sisters. That's why when I spoke to Tazariak, a beautiful brother of mine who was a Hebrew Israelite, and I said to Tazariak, just because I claim the Kemetic Nile Valley culture does not make me your enemy. No, because I'm older than you. You're claiming your Hebrew origin, your Shemitic origin, and that's beautiful. But remember, I'm claiming the ones who were good to your prophets. I fed Abraham and Sarah. I'm claiming the culture that fed your Abraham and Sarah, according to your own book. I'm claiming the culture that fed your Moses, that educated your Moses in all his wisdom, that made him mighty in words and deeds. I'm claiming the one that spared the life of your prophet Yeshua, Jesus. Okay, that's what I'm claiming. So I come to you with nothing but divine myrrh and healing. You could never call me anti anything because I embrace the goodness of each path. I embrace the goodness of my Muslim brothers and sisters. I embrace the goodness of my Christians. I embrace the goodness of my Jewish brothers and sisters. But I abhor the wickedness of all of them. Okay? If you are wicked, I have to abhor you. But not, you cannot all be wicked. Every system has its wicked group. And we must call it out wherever we see it. And those, if you are in that group, you must call out the wickedness in your own group. If you are in whatever faith or system you are, you must call out the wickedness, because all your faiths are calling you to righteousness. They're all calling you to Ma'at, but you've got to call it by its name. You've got to say Ma'at, because that is the oldest sound for the divine principle of righteousness, balance, order, truth, reciprocity, harmony, sobriety, and propriety. Brother Rich one, what you got? What else you want to hear?
Oh man, I'm learning, brother. I got a seat. I'm in class, and I'm just here learning. So I appreciate you teaching, and your passion for teaching is obvious. We don't hear you, we feel you. So I'm definitely appreciative to have you on the show and just to be a part of this, my brother. What I want to ask you is, you brought up the quantum field several times, and you equated it with the Neteru, and one of the things that is spoken about often when a quantum field, especially by those such as Joe Dispenza, what's the other gentleman, Greg Braden, is that accessing the quantum field, what's very important is clear intention, and they stress an elevated emotion. So as a people who are very emotional, and like I see you talking, brother, and you're so vibrant, you're so alive. We're so alive, and we have so much energy. What would you tell us about our emotions? How important is managing our emotions in as far as spirituality?
Oh, my beloved brother. I tell people it's all in your intention.
Mm-hmm.
It's in your intention. And you must approach it with true, you must approach it the way you would court a woman if you're a man, or sisters, the way you would court a man if you're a woman. You must approach it with a desire, an intense desire to make that contact. And remember that thought is faster than light. Tell me, can you measure the quantum of a thought? Can you? Know that the time is going to come, and it's fast approaching, when we would not need to have these objects that we call telephones, and because we are learning, because it's in the air. Like Bob Dylan says, the answer is blowing in the wind. We are now in a wind age, an age of air, the age of Hapi, known as Aquarius. And in the age of Hapi, on the walls of the temple of Dendera, it shows that Hapi as a man with pendulous breasts, an androgen. What does that mean? It means that in order to be fully human, you have to be able to access both hemispheres simultaneously. And that you can only do through the process of what we call meditation today. And to quiet to quiet your mind, and to look at your heart as if it was a movie, because you rely up here, but there's a connection between here and here. As I said before, you have not only one heart, that's a pump here in the middle of your chest. You've got the heart of your reproductive organs. You've got the heart inside your brain, the pineal and pituitary process. You're filled with hearts. You are heart beings. And so you have to then employ that emotion of the heart in order to access that which you want to access. All right? So somebody said, well, Baba Heru, why have you not accessed your millions yet? I am working on that, because I want to see a Patah Foundation where I'm gathering the artists, those who are into our culture, into the legacy, because we are relying on other people to allow us to wear their names on our chest, feet, and behinds. We want to be branded again with some of the very names that used to be on our butts with hot iron, on our chest with hot iron. We want to be partners with folks whose ancestors did that to us. Now, we can forgive them if they would assist us in bringing out our own brands. You see what I'm talking about? The time has come. Like, hey, look what's on my trousers. The feather of my art. Why? Because I'm walking in truth. Look, I got wings on my trousers, okay? These were designed, I designed these garments. I'm not wearing my jacket, which has wings on the shoulder, so I don't have to wear shoulder pads. You see, I don't have to have a phony shoulder, because I got the wings that perform the same task as the wings on my trousers. Why I do that? So I can walk faster. When I walk, I fly. Young men, there are many young men who can't outwalk me, okay? Because when I walk, I fly, because I have a meditation that says, Heru is long of stride, okay? So now you want to, what you said about emotions, your desire to attract, your desire to learn. That's when I first confronted the Neteru, all of these squiggly lines and these what seemed to be strange symbols. I had such a desire to see what they're about, that because of that desire, they now appear on the rings, on pendants, because I'm not a scribe. I know enough of this language to access that which I need. I do not know the total grammar of the ancient language, I must admit. But I have scribes like Sanjeti of the Temple of Anu. I have Anika and Jabari Osaze that I can contact. I have our beloved sister who I've likewise taken her classes. As a matter of fact, the first class that Sister Raketi Amen taught in New York was in my studio when I was on the Bowery, right down here in Chinatown. And people said, what are you doing in Chinatown? If I were in Harlem, I would have been gentrified, right? And I would have to get dogs and guns. And I was bitten by a dog twice. And so I'm not too friendly with dogs. I believe they belong in the backyard. And I don't like guns either. I carry this. I used to carry this when I used to pound the beat on my handcuff case. I got in trouble for it. I got psychologically tested. Yeah, and they found out I was crazy, because all artists have a madness about us. So that's, but I was able to still wear my ankh and the guns. They said, why are you carrying that thing? I said, well, that thing is a sign of life. You want me to carry just a tool of death? I like to carry the balance. And I keep repeating that every time I get a chance, because you cannot wear the ankh and shoot your brother down. You cannot wear the ankh and fire your pistol and kill some baby in her mother's arms in a house so far away from where you are having a shootout with your brother or a nickel bag. Come on now. You've got to stop this nonsense. You belong to a tribe, what you call a gang, huh? And you say you own the streets? No. You say you got turf, but the cops own the block. You say you're a gangster because you got an Uzi and a Glock. You play basketball all day. You say you rule the sport, but it's really tough being a king when your master owns the court. Don't get me rapping, all right?
Hey, I see. Man.
Go ahead.
Let's get to some Q&A. I don't want to miss the Q&A, because I've seen people been asking questions and I end up missing a lot of the questions because the chat goes so fast. We're going to get to some Q&A from the people. A couple of questions before we get out here. I definitely want to thank the brother Baaba Heru for coming on here. We got about 2,000 people in the chat. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight in the chat. Before we get to the Q&A, Baaba Heru, tell them how they could contact you for jewelry and any of your other services, my brother.
Oh, sure. Well, you can first, the email is info, like information, at sopata. Yeah, I'm sopata. Sopata, PTAH.com. Info at sopata.com. You can dial at 212-343-9706. 212-343-9706. You can also go to Instagram and you will friend me, please, under Baaba Heru, BAA. Don't forget the 2 A's, because I'm not a Babalawo from Nigeria, even though I love my brothers over there. I don't want to claim something that I'm not. They call me Baaba because that means spirit of spirit, okay? And Baaba Heru _creates, BAABA _creates. Baaba Heru _creates. And you can see I used to do a lot of posting on Facebook, but I had to pull back a bit because I noticed how folks don't like to read. 5,000 people have friended me. My friend list is filled up on Facebook, but I know I can see that we don't like to read. And if I get very serious on Facebook, they are, because now we're living in an atmosphere of fear. People are afraid to even hit a like button because they figure that somebody's going to chase them down. We've been such a frightened people. That's why we need to get on the quantum field of Heru, of the Seket Heru, to raise the courage that we should have as a people, okay? So that we would deflect the energies that come towards us. Just the fact that you have raised a Heru within you would deflect Set, because Set will run away from you when he knows that you are coming in for the kill, not in the physical sense, but to defend your spirit. Okay?
Indeed. All right. Let's get to a couple of questions. All right. First one, Baba.
Yes.
Does the Ankh affect the heart chakra?
Why else do you think that I have done this? Because life is what we all crave. We want life and we want to have it more abundantly, don't we not? So you see, when I walk with this, because look, people get intimidated because it's so heavy. You think this will intimidate anyone? Everybody's into Valentine's Day. Well, I'm into it 365 days a year by carrying this. It don't mean I'm throwing this away. This is an ancestral tool, and I will never give this up. And many of the brothers and sisters who want to carry this, you just can't buy it. This is not for sale. You have got to show your commitment to teaching about Ma'at and to living Ma'at, to bring your acid and alkaline within your own body into Ma'at in order to carry this as a abu or abut, a priest or priestess. I don't like to use priest word because I like the Rastaman said, the priest pressed down on the people, you know what I'm saying? So I designed this years ago. I made one for my beloved sister. It had 100 diamonds on it, not the big one like this, one that she wears around her neck. That's my sister Carmencita. She is the mother of my nephews, Full Force. You remember Full Force? They were in the Kid and Play movies.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
those are my nephews. Bow-legged Lou, B Fine, and Brian. Yep, those are my nephews.
Yeah, okay.
And they worked with me at the studio Pata for years. Yes, before they blew up when Joe Tex took them on the road after they passed the Apollo Theater 3 times, I think 4 times they won the amateur hour at the Apollo Theater, and Joe Tex took them on the road. And from there on, they were producing people like Janet Jackson. They even discovered that sister, oh my gosh, she's one of the top rappers now. Sakara, what's the sister's name? Yes, yes. That's Sakara, my beloved. Those posts that you see on Facebook, she is the one behind those lovely posts, the photographs that you see of the divine, which is, yes. So to get back to that question, my brother, repeat it for me again.
Does the Ankh affect the heart chakra?
Yes, it does, because it calls you to live life and to protect life, beginning with your own life, to have respect for life. How much more heart do you need than that? Of course it affects the heart chakra, because it affects your very life, and it's your heart that keeps you going. You know, all your 3 hearts, all the 3 major hearts that you have. But this one in the center of the chest, by the way, I had an experience. They call it the heart attack. I think it's 2020. But I said, the heart did not attack me. I attacked it by not doing enough walking, because I'd become very sedentary, because I had a beautiful brother in here, Heru David, who used to do a lot of my running for me. Now I'm doing more walking. And As a result, my circulation, of course, has gone through the roof. And I give thanks for that. My prostate is functioning beautifully. And brothers, by the way, let me give you a little hint. When you go to the bathroom, you urinate, please see how many times you can stop it in midstream. And trust me, in your 80s and 90s, you'll be as virile as a young man, okay? Because you will learn how to control your muscles and the flow of your seed. That is very precious to keep you living longer. Many of us in a young age are suffering from brain drain, okay, because you're draining your brain through your henanum. I don't call it penis because penis sounds too puny. We don't have no puny stuff. We call it henanum. It's heavy, powerful.
In the doom.
Henanum.
Oh,
You know,
Elder, you too much, man.
when I've lectured, I would have the group in the hall say penis. Everybody say penis, penis, penis. I say now say henanum, henanum. Everybody say henanum. I say which is sound more powerful. Everybody says henanum.
Indeed. Let's get to the next. You too much, Elder. You too much, man. Let's get to the next question. All right. What are they want to know? What are some Kemetic chants, mantras, and hymns we should use?
Okay. Here's something that will help your prosperity. The power of the hidden sun is revealed to my face. Kumra, kumra, kum heru ra, kum heru heru ra, ra, ra. Kum ra, 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 kum heru ra, kum heru ra, ra, kum ra, 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 kum heru ra, kum re, ra, ra, kum ra, ra, kum as I'm hessying that, hessy is our word for chanting, by the way. As I hessy that hessy came to me one day. I was awakened and I heard that chant coming out of the sun. And I saw golden coins tumbling out of that yellow of the sun. And I saw $100 bills coming out of the sun. I said, whoa.
Woo.
And you know what happened? Sometimes I forget to use that. But when I remember, people who owe me money pay me.
Hey.
You know, kumra, kumra, kumheru. So you have to do it with the gesture.
Yes.
Calling your prosperity forth, calling it forth. Okay. Another one I do is I invoke the power of Ptah. Ptah's consort, Sekhmet, the healer. Ptah is the Neteru of all creative beings, especially those who work with their hands. Sekhmet, she is represents the healing power, and she heals by purging, the way she took the heads of those who were against the ways of Ra, the laws of Ra. And also the Neferatum. Neferatum is the one who uses aromatherapy for healing. They're the ones who made the incense that was burnt in the temples, the Neferatum shrines, and then the Neteru. There's the three Neteru of Ptah, Sekhmet, Neferatum. So I would do this. Ptah, Sekhmet, Ain, Metaptah, Sekhmet, Neferatum, 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 Ptah, 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 Ra, Ra, Ptah, Pa, Pa, Ptah, 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 Ra, Ra, Ptah, 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 Ra, Ra, Ptah, Sekhmet, Ain, Metaptah, Sekhmet, Neferatum, Ptah, Sekhmet, Ain, Metaptah, Sekhmet, Neferatum. You do that over and over. You see, English has taken away our capacity to even pronounce certain words. We are not able to roll our R because English has taken that away. So practice. When I taught Kinetics 101, brothers and sisters would be saying that their neighbors thought they were crazy because they would be in the bathroom trying to get their R back, And when I was on the beat, that's how I used to stay warm, by chanting R. And the sergeant comes to sign my book. It's in the middle of the winter. Sweat is coming down my brow. Are you okay, officer? Yes, I'm just keeping myself warm, because when you say R, you're flexing your solar muscles, your solar plexus, and it sends heat throughout the body. And that is one of the ways in which you would raise your emotional energy through your hesi, through your chants. Okay, now you say to the world, let's say Meratu, 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 Meratu. That means simply, I love you. Say that to the world. Say that to the heavens. Say that to your queen. Say that to your king. Meratu.
Meratu.
So those are some of the techniques I use to raise the energy and to raise my inner compassion for the world. And for those of my family, for my friends, my family, and the whole world, because we are part of that. I always say that we are like pores on the skins of the divine. We are drops of water in the ocean of divine. Okay, we are stars in the heaven of divine. Even Neil deGrasse Tyson will tell you that we are made of stardust, and it's real. It's true. We are stars.
Man.
Never forget it. And please shine your light. Don't be afraid to shine your light. They'll call you conceited. Like Muhammad Ali said, I'm not conceited, I'm convinced.
Ooh.
And you ought to be too. That's not just for me alone. That's for all of us. We must affirm that we are stars. We are shining ones. Nuku nuku amiku kemam ke Peru. 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 Nuku amiku kemam ke Peru. Nuku nuku amiku kemam ke Peru. Hey.
Shit. Man, listen. You gonna have me with my lady tonight talking about man karupa nuka do. I'm gonna be saying all types of stuff tonight with my lady, man. Jeez, man.
There you go, bro.
Man, you giving us that pot. That's that you feel the power when you say that. You can feel it, man. You can feel it vibrating in your body, man. That's some powerful stuff, brother.
Oh yeah, that's why I say, man, in the beginning, if there was a beginning, it was a sound. Okay, it was the sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Powerful,
So
man.
we used to sing our speech more than talking.
Talk to him, Elder. Say that again. What you said? What you
I
just
said
said?
we used to sing our speech, not just talk it.
Shit. That's deep.
We can sing. We sang them spirituals and all that stuff we sang in church.
Hey.
This because our voices can wake the dead, literally. Okay.
Elder, man, you must have had some heavy game with the ladies back in the day, man.
I've been accused of that, my brother.
You had some heavy game with the ladies back in the day.
Well, I'm still at it. I just have calmed down. I just have one now.
Man, I hear you.
but I love my sisters, you know, and I got a lot of, I did get a lot of jealousy because of that. I remember Erica Badu, when she came to New York City, she stopped at around 14th Street, and this brother came up to her and said, "Are you going to go down to the Shrine of Ptah? Watch out for Brother Heru." She told me that. I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, I remember." She came to our house, the brownstone we lived in with Queen Afua, and I'm walking down the steps, and she goes up against the wall like this. I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "Well, Baba Heru, I have to be careful with." I said, "I beg your pardon. You could be a daughter of mine. I don't play that." So I made her a beautiful ankh ring. You all have seen that ankh ring I made for her. The ankh that she used to stand up on the stage, I made that for her. I even made and designed for her son, Seven, a rocking pyramid cradle, okay, with his name in Neteru on the outside of it, with beautiful curtains on the inside of it. So he used to be rocked to sleep in a rocking merkut, a rocking pyramid that I designed for Erica Badu. So yes, I'm here to serve my brothers and sisters. Keith David, that brother who fought that battle with that fight scene. That's one of the most famous fight scenes in the old movies. I forgot the name of that. The whom? The whom? They Live. You know that movie, They Live?
Yeah.
The brother who fought the wrestler in that movie, that's Keith David.
Okay.
I do some work for him too.
Excellent.
The one who played Kunta Kinte, Ben Vereen, I've done some work for him too.
Excellent.
You know, so I'm here to serve my brothers and sisters, and I want those hip hop artists. Don't give all your stuff to up at 47th Street. Come down here. I want to break your chains with legacy links. You see this chain here? This is Ankh in my art. I got the feathers of my art and the Ankh on this link chain. Okay? So if you have a Cuban link, I want to break that Cuban link and put on a link of life, a link of truth. I've got the legacy links. I've got the eyes of Heru legacy links. I've got the scarab of resurrection legacy links. I've got the Jiniame legacy links. I even got the 6-point star, the Mogan David legacy links. I don't discriminate with old symbols of humanity. You see? So please come and allow me to serve you. You getting married, brother? I make for you a man engagement ring, because you got on your knee and you give your woman an engagement ring and you walk around like you're still available. Oh no, not with me here. I got a man engagement ring for you, bro. Okay. So come and allow me to serve you, but please be patient. Why? I'm not Amazon. I like to take my time with this work. It's a divine mission that I'm on. So come and get it, because who knows? I've been on the planet for quite some time now, and I'm not sure when I'm going to go to my star, but whenever I go, I'll be ready, because I've done many death meditations. I've died in so many ways that I'm fearless now when it comes to that. That's another thing you have to start practicing.
That's another show. I would love to talk to you about that. That's the next show, Baba. Science of death meditations. Wow.
Oh, you better believe. If you want to live a fearless life, do some death meditations.
That is our next show, man. I swear. Hey, let's get to 2 more questions before you get out here. I'm having such a good time. I definitely want to let the people ask a couple of more questions. Somebody wants to know, are there certain times of the year in which the Ankh is especially activated outside of the other days?
I would suggest around the Wep Renput, the opening of the year. That's a season that I inaugurated in the Shrine of Ptah. And after it was given over, because what I do as Ptah is I don't own stuff, I give it away. So, but that celebration was picked up by the Temple of Anu in Newark, New Jersey. And they have Weprun every year. This year we celebrated upstate New York on a reservation of our First Native brothers and sisters. And that Weprun is a great time to activate your ki. That is when we celebrate the rise of the star Sirius and the inundation of the river called Hapi, now called the Nile. Okay, so over here we celebrate in the first week of August, and the Temple of Anu, boy, they do a masterful job. And at the seasons of the year, likewise, and the summer season, the summer solstice, the spring equinox, the winter solstice, and of course the fall equinox. So, and those periods those are good times to bring forth your ki, because it aligns you with the cosmos. Okay, because your life really comes from the stars, especially the one closest to us. You call it the sun. S-U-N.
Indeed. Yes, sir. All right. Hey, Bob, I noticed, man, we got on before I get to the next question, we got on similar colors, man. You see our colors, man? We got you must have read my mind today, man. The green, what's the
look at that? Even your crown is green.
Yeah,
but hey, you got the yellow up here too.
We got the same crop, man. Listen, man,
Yes,
what's going on here, man?
Well,
wow.
You know, today is Wednesday. So today is the day of Chahuti. I wear the colors of the day.
Oh.
So, on Monday, I'll be in blue and white. I'll be in blue because that's Oset for us.
Yes.
My divine mother. On Tuesday, the day of Mars, because Wednesday is Miércoles, Mercury. That's Chahuti. Chahuti. So I wear yellow to honor Chahuti. So when I put this scarf on, and even if you can't own a scarf or the garments or a shirt, wear a little yellow ribbon on a Wednesday to invoke the spirit of Chahuti. On Tuesday, I said I wear red and white. That's for Heru. That's for Heru Kahuti, the warrior Shango. Okay. On Wednesday, it says it's yellow. On Thursday, I wear the day of Thor, the Lord of the Hammer in the other mythology. That the hammer is a tool of Ptah. So I put on purple on Thursday because the priests of Ptah wore purple. Also, they used to get that mollusk from the Mediterranean. It's the brightest purple you can find, and we used to dye our sails. Matter of fact, Cleopatra dyed her sails with that same purple. On Friday, that's Oshun. That is Heru. I wear green or yellow or turquoise because she's also known as the Lady of the Turquoise. And she's also called Nebet, which means gold in the female form. Nebet, from which we get the word Nub, which means gold. Okay. On Saturday, Set gets its turn. Set is Saturn. So I wear red and black or indigo on that day. And when Sunday comes, the day of Ra, I will wear gold, I will wear yellow, I will wear orange, okay, for Sunday. So the colors of the day is a way to silently acknowledge these divine forces, so like today, I'm walking in the spirit of Tahuti, who they call thought in the Greek vernacular. And it makes you think, thought, Tahuti. Okay. So you are in this, as a matter of fact, the Asara Society, they likewise wear the colors of the day. And so we can, when we meet each other, we are usually in harmony. They have a couple of differences, but in the main, we are into the same thing. So when you put on that color, you are honoring, it's a prayer. You're offering to the divine principle of that particular Neteru. You see? So I stay in the field of the Neteru in every way possible. So I try to live a divine life by keeping myself framed in the powers of the divine. The Netera. Netera is the one who's mother and father of all creation, but from that one mother, father comes all of the expressions of the Neteru. So that's how we look at it. Okay. It's not
Indeed.
gods and goddesses like these people use that term to pejoratively accuse us of being polytheists.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's get to this is gonna be the last question. Let's get to it. Baba Heru, can you speak on the ancient Kemetic Day of the Dead festival and how to honor our ancestors? Now I like this question because Halloween is coming up. And I think the Day of the Dead is the day after Halloween or something like that. So
Is
I
that
like that.
so?
I like this question here.
Well, I tell you how I
Mm.
have flipped that is I honor the day of resurrection
Okay.
because
All
you
right.
see, look, brothers and sisters, we are in Amenta. Amenta is the domain of Asar. Asar is the principle of resurrection. Resurrection from what condition? From dead, from being dead. Okay? So by honoring Asar, you are honoring the dead that has come to life. I affirm life, even though I am not afraid of death. All right? Because we learn that what we call death is a doorway to another way of being. All right. So it's important that we honor that process. And that's why I say we must experience meditations of that kind. Look, when I sleep, this is the way I sleep.
Mm, mm.
Okay. Because I put spirit over matter. My right hand governs matter. My left hand governs spirit. You see, they used to refer to her as the Holy Ghost because she comes from the right side of my brain, you see. All right. So I'm talking about living this on a daily basis. It's not something that we just do on one day in the week. It's something that you live and you breathe when you are into the Ma'atical way of being. I am a Ma'aticratic conservative. I believe in conserving righteousness, truth, balance, and order. We have the Ten Commandments, which is beautiful. It's a little on the liberal side. We got 42 confessions of Ma'at. In the morning, we say, I will not do so and so. In the evening, we say, I have not done so and so that we do a daily inventory of our conduct. You see, and after a while, you're so into it that you don't even have to say them. You're breathing it. Okay, you're breathing Ma'at. That's why we must form I believe in the governance of that is Ma'aticracy, a governance of righteousness and truth and order and balance. Okay, I will go for the formation of the Ma'aticratic Party. Okay, I believe in Ma'aticracy. I believe in the Ma'aticratic Party. I believe in a Ma'aticracy. So listen, remember that the founding fathers of this country, of America, they were into masonry. Yes, it was speculative, but if you see, they borrowed from the Masonic template of the Africans of the Nile. When you read Tony Browder's book, Egypt and the Potomac, that was the name of the place they now call Washington, D.C., which was prior called Columbia, okay, after a woman. By the way, that woman on the top of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., she was highly insulted on the 6th of this, when was it, a couple of years ago? That lady that you see wearing that suit, that copper suit, that lady of divine love of liberty, she likewise was insulted. We have something that we must preserve in America because this is the resting place of Asar, the one who is coming into resurrection, because they say Asar, the principle of resurrection, is the Lord of Amentet, the Lord of the West. And where is this resurrection coming from? The resurrection of carrying the Ankh. It started right here in America, okay? But it was likewise inspired by Sheikh Anta Diop in Senegal, who wrote African Origins of Civilization, Myth or Reality, whose name is now on the lips of those who visit the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where they have finally decided to tell the truth that what's in West Africa came from East Africa, that what's the very stool on which the king sits in Ashanti village was the same shape on which the king rested their heads, that little dips of a stool, you see. So they're showing now the truth. Finally, they're telling the truth. Brothers and sisters, go to the museum when the Shrine of Ma'at and become initiated at the Shrine of Ma'at. Become initiated at the Temple of Anu. There's a Shrine of Ma'at has been opened up now in Phoenix, Arizona. They need it. Wherever a lie is being promoted, the truth has got to be on call. So you graffiti artists, let me see you put that feather wherever you can, okay? The feather of Ma'at, the feather of truth and righteousness.
Indeed, indeed.
Yes, sir.
Wow. Well, like I said, man, it's been a pleasure. It's been a magnificent show. Can't wait for the next show on death meditations. I'm already putting it out there in the quantum field. In the quantum field, I already got it out there. So it's got to come back to this realm. But listen, Elder, man, I want my family, I want the people to support you. Tell them once again before we get out of here how they could get some of your services, your unks, your joyery, your speaking engagements, anything you got going on, my brother.
Oh my gosh, people are trying to pull me out now. I love what I do so much in here. Yeah. But yes, as I said before, 212-343-9706. And if you have any questions, I reserve after 7 to answer questions. I will give you 5-10 minutes because I have certain people that I still interact with. Because as you know, when I would teach people, I chase them away from me because I'm not one of those teachers who try to keep people bound. I'm not running a cult. I'm into culture. I'm especially into the culture of freedom. I want my freedom, and I want to free you to go out and get some knowledge and come back and teach me. Many of my former students have now become my teachers. Don't you think that I sit and listen to Jabari and Anika on Sunday, every other Sunday? Don't you think that I sit and listen to my beloved brother Ra Kapir at the Temple of Anu and his beloved Hemet, okay? Mbara, the one who sits before Ra? I listen and I learn from them. So please avail yourself of those doorways through which you can access this knowledge, even in a more formal way. Okay, so please, and don't forget, yes, come and support the work that we do here. And don't come asking me, please. Don't come asking me.
What they calling you already? What they calling you already, bro?
It seems that way. Don't come asking me to, hey brother, can I pay you in cash so I don't have to pay tax? Don't even try it. I love paying the taxes, the sales taxes in New York City, because it is from here that this resurrection of carrying the Ankh arose. Okay, it was here, pounding the beat in the most decrepit neighborhoods of this city, that I carried this key. Okay, I carried this key because I was being persecuted. They hung a used condom on my locker when I was a police officer. And one day I will tell you the story of how that happened. I was called a scumbag, okay? And they hung that on my locker, all right? But I learned a lot on the force, and I met a lot of good people on the force in blue. I also met some scoundrels, okay? But the good ones far outnumbered the gangsters in uniform. That I got to tell you the truth. And I need also to let you know, there were some who looked just like me with this lovely robe of the sun that we call black skin, who were as wicked as some of the others, okay? And I used to tell them about themselves too. I got myself in a lot of trouble, but the ancestors saw me through. So I've been retired now for about 35 years. I give thanks and praise for the experience.
Thank you so much, Elder. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is Brother Rich, Baaba, Heru, and we are signing out. Peace, light, and love, family. Peace.
Neteru.